Hi. Before anything else, let's clear our mind and take our time. Music is an art with time as the medium. And maybe air. But there's no air parameter on the MultiMod, so let's go with time for now. Sorry, I forgot to turn off the air before I started filming. Let's not forget about the time scales of music as presented in the book Microsound by Curtis Rhodes. Infinite, supra, macro, meso, sound object, micro, sample, subsample, infinitesimal. In 9 layers, we have everything from the total age of the universe and beyond, down to the absolute moment known as now. We simultaneously experience all these different scales at once at different speeds. Musically, in the micro and sound object scales, we have timbre and the shapes of notes. At the sound object and meso scales, individual notes and phrases. At the macro scale, we have formal layers across a full piece of music or performance. The supra scale comprises careers, trends, genres, schools. Here on the internet, it's a meso-scale maelstrom, as a flood of stimuli compete for your attention, trying to gain control of your interest in the smallest amount of time possible. It becomes so easy to forget that we aren't just living on one time scale, but on many at once. We've talked about this on the channel before. Now, when we first showed you MultiMod, we had a lot of information to get across in a short, a medium amount of time. Fully demonstrating all the controls in an introductory video meant mostly doing things that moved quickly so that we could transmit the information and move on. But I want to remember that a full-featured synthesizer can operate on multiple timescales at once. Of course, with the full expanded range of the spread control, one channel of MultiMod can move through time hundreds of times faster than another channel, representing at least a couple of those timescales. But more importantly than that, for our purposes right now, I just want to think about the slower timescales and letting things unfold in their own time. We didn't talk much yet about how very slow the time control can operate. Let's slowly get into it. All the controls on MultiMod actually have 3 parameter ranges. There's the range that's accessible purely via the knob, and then there's what's outside, whether using additional positive control voltage or negative control voltage. The time parameter goes out to about 30 seconds just from the knob. Let's note that this does not just mean it can hold, for example, one 30-second cycle of an LFO, but rather that it contain 30 seconds of whatever you put into it, with any number of changes therein. So for example, here's a complex function. Spread will make some channels shorter than the time parameter, and some channels longer. Consider this. In conjunction with hold, we can also use the time parameter to take a copied signal and stretch it out. Let's take this complex function. We'll use the slower end of cycle output to clock the MultiMod. When we do this, the time control becomes a division of this overall clock time. With time counterclockwise, it's listening to exactly 1 clock. And we can hear straight away the stretching and shrinking of these copies with the spread control. But okay, so let's hold them, noting that hold waits for the next clock before activating, and we can now remove the input signal if we like. It's not required, of course. I'm just doing it so you can see that we're no longer taking new input, but instead looping the already existing copies. pull the clock too, so that we have more continuous control over time. The phase control now operates as a sort of immediate scrubbing of all these different copies with its own weight per channel. Now by putting a full plus or minus 10 volts into the phase parameter with the attenuator open, we can pull the channels so far out of phase that they all go back into phase again. Or we can even modulate it. But now let's slow down the time parameter. CV input here is summed with the control panel. So if we turn time all the way up and then start adding more voltage, we hear it slowing down even further. We may even start to hear nuances in the original transients that we couldn't hear at its original fast speed. Even at this slow time setting, phase operates in degrees, so we can use phase to speed through the copies as fast as we like. Or we can just leave them out of phase with each other. And we can still slow some channels down even farther with the spread control while speeding others up. Creating new juxtapositions. As always, different reed shapes will give us variations on these same shapes. Let's slowly modulate spread as well. I don't think I've decided on my favorite way to use MultiMod yet. Have you? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Happy patching.